A really good performance, particularly in the second half. And Liam Rosenior joins us pitch side now. Liam, 3 months into your time at Chelsea, you're taking them to Wembley in an FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah, it's great. That's why you come to this club. You want to win trophies, you want to be in big games, and I was really happy with the players' application. Their attitude was top in the game, and we scored 7 goals, and that comes from a real energy and intensity about us, which I enjoyed, and we need to keep that going.
It was such a strong selection, the starting 11 for this game. So how pleased were you with the performance that they put in?
Yeah, I think it's not just the in possession. Cole made him captain. If you watch the game, he's tracking back. Joao Pedro sprinting across the pitch. Pedro Neto's tracking back into his box. They were all the things that you have to go back to after you have a difficult run of form. And I was delighted with the application of every player that set foot on the pitch, really. And yeah, now we're in the semi-final. We have a big game next week against City.
Liam, what did you say to them half-time? Because in the first half, yes, you scored 3 goals. The intensity was not as sharp as the second half, but second half when they came out, they were really sharp.
No, I thought the subs all made an impact as well. I said play like it's 0-0. We have to be perfect no matter what the score is. We have to get in a habit of being perfect in every moment of the game, and yeah, I thought the players were outstanding in terms of carrying that out, and that has to continue.
I've got to ask you quickly about Estêvão. I've seen him live 3 times, and it just keeps. The one thing we did say that he looked much more dangerous on the right side than on the left. You know, that cutting in.
Yeah.
But when you watch him in training, what's the ceiling?
There's no ceiling for him. We've missed him. He's been injured for pretty much 6 weeks in terms of his hamstring, which was a real tough one for us to take, but he comes in, he just plays, he enjoys playing football, he wants to get on the ball. Wherever he is on the pitch, he's a threat, and he's going to be a real plus for us going into the running.
Liam, just one last one before we let you go. It's been noisy at Chelsea in your time in charge and even beforehand. This week particularly so, with remarks made by players that you've dealt with and you've spoken about before the game. So how welcome was this win today to come back and start playing football, talking about football and winning matches?
Football is about football. Football is about on the pitch. This is a huge football club with a lot of scrutiny, a lot of people writing a lot of things. But I thought the players in terms of application showed what we're about today. We had a really difficult 10 days, but the way we've come through that, I think as a group we've spoken a lot about what we can do, and it's a really good first step for the running.
Congratulations on the win today. Good luck at Wembley. Liam, thanks so much for coming out to talk to us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Cheers, Dan. Thank you.
Thanks, Liam. Hang on.
Then what he is feeling now?
Jimmy, what does this do for Chelsea, this victory, this trip to Wembley, given that it comes off the back of a period of time in which Enzo has said that he wants to go and live in Madrid, as we covered earlier, without explicitly
I want to live
saying
in Madrid
he wants
too.
To play.
It's nice weather.
You could if you want it.
But the implication being that he wanted to go and play at Real Madrid, which he said is not what he said. He's not going to be playing in a couple of games for them. You've also got Marc Cucurella coming out criticising the fact that they don't have enough established players in the side, and the ones that are there are frustrated by this transfer policy of bringing young players in. So you've got that on one hand. Then he criticised the appointment or the change of manager. Plus you've got the club off the pitch announcing record losses, and yet at the end of all of that they're off to Wembley.
Yeah, look, they're in a semi-final, and end of the day, that was the aim. That is the most important. Yes, Enzo has said what he has said. They've dealt with it. Rightly or wrongly, they've dealt with it. As a club, they feel that's what we need to do, and that's what we're going to do. But then still, there is business to be done, and they've done the business. They have put themselves in the semi-final. This club is about winning trophies, yeah? So they have got an opportunity to win trophies, and with a good performance, it ended up being a good performance, 7 goals. Let's forget about the other rest, and now it's business again for the next game.
Next couple of games are against Manchester City and Manchester United here at Stamford Bridge. So with difficult fixtures coming up, does this win, the manner of this win, does it quieten the noise around Chelsea for the time being at least?
I think temporarily it does. I'm surprised that the Enzo things come out, and I like the fact it's been dealt with, but when you look at the games coming up, he is one of the better players.
But it sends a message.
It sends a good message, but the irony is with the Enzo and the Cucurella stuff is that they're kind of eluding, or maybe they're edging towards getting away. But they've both come through here as younger players. They've both been bought by the club as young players, which is their policy. And it's kind of like Cucurella's now criticising that same policy that gave him the platform to thrive and become a Spanish international. Self-indulgent.
It is an interesting situation because he's saying that the more established players, and I think he's 27, are starting to become frustrated with that policy. But isn't he one of the senior players that he's asking to be brought into the club?
Yeah, he is. Look, players are going to be players. Players are going to feel that emotion at times, especially when you're not winning. The thing is, they've gone to their national team, and then there are different kind of journalists asking different kind of questions. They've opened up maybe a little bit too much, and that is where things come out. And you know, it's feeling. It's a feeling inside that these boys, they want to win, and when things are going against it, then you get these kind of things, rightly or wrongly.
So I think he goes to do the step over, and in that he makes, as Jolene's right, I'm with him. I think he initiates that contact. But, you know, I mean, thankfully it wasn't a decision that meant it was kind of who's going through and who's not. The damage was already done. But and he still stepped up and had to execute it. So fair play to him for that. But I still don't think it was a pen.
OK. But it was 7-0 in the end. And it's interesting, isn't it, when you look at Chelsea's season, you look at what the objectives might have been at the start of the season, how they came into this, you know, winning the Club World Cup, winning the Conference League as well. They're sort of struggling to hold on to, you know, trying to get that 5th spot in the Premier League as well. This is the best chance of silverware, the only chance of silverware left for them. How much of a priority do you think it will be for them, Jolien?
I think it would be a priority. I don't think it's a top one. I don't know, obviously, but I'm sure they would prefer to be in the Champions League than to solely win the FA Cup and not be in it. So, yeah, I think it's of importance. Again, there's a lot of important games coming up there, the two, especially against Manchester clubs. I think they're huge. I think they define the season, and then if they can go on top of qualifying for the Champions League and win the FA Cup, I think it's a successful season, and especially for Liam coming in so late. But I think if they could choose now, I think they would choose Champions League.
Do you agree with that, given that, you know, this is a club, you know, with such a rich history of winning silverware as well, Karen?
I think the hierarchy would obviously say we want Champions League purely from the revenue perspective, but obviously this is a football club that I know well that demands trophies, and they're used to that, and I think the fans deserve that. So they're already at Wembley, they're 2 games away from lifting it and winning it, so it absolutely should be a priority. But maybe in terms of revenue and financials, the Champions League is more lucrative. But I think now the talking has to kind of stop. We don't need to hear all noises coming from Chelsea from the wrong kind of comments. It needs to be about the football pitch now and them doing their business, and today they absolutely did that. But it's got to continue both in the Premier League to try and get that Champions League, and obviously to progress to the FA Cup final now.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because we're going to look at their fixtures actually coming up, and Manchester City is next and Manchester United follows. And it's so important to just keep up momentum. Of course, there's levels, and, you know, you're looking at, you know, they're playing the team that are at the bottom of League One at the moment, facing relegation to League Two, and of course then they face Manchester City in the next game. So what Liam Rosenior has to do is keep the feel-good factor, but to keep his players excited about building something together as well.
Yeah, definitely, and that comes with winning. Confidence comes with winning, momentum. But again, their tough test, or the toughest test, is going to be City next week due to the form there and the way they're playing. So again, they did themselves no harm in this week, and it'll be a great place to work when you're winning, especially 7-0. You come into work looking forward to it. Everyone's positive, and the bigger the game, that tends to be a nicer feel. But again, they all know that they have to be at maximum capacity. They didn't have too many errors this game today, but they can't have any next week because Man City will punish them.
Absolutely, and no Enzo Fernandez, of course. When you have the fulcrum of, you know, Fernandez and Caicedo, that's key to how Chelsea play. But have they sort of almost cut their nose off to spite their face for that one?
Look, it is what it is. The decision's been made, so we can't look back. Of course, you want your best players available. That isn't going to be the case with Enzo Fernandez. They have to move forward now, and like I said, enough of that talking. It's been dealt with. That's the sanction, whether we agree with it or not, whether we like it or not. That's happened, and the group, whoever he picks next week, have got to put out a result, because they need that for the Premier League and their Champions League fight. So continue now to do the talking on the pitch, and I think fans and everybody else would favour that.
Yeah.
That you're going to end up at the end make little mistakes, and that's what happened.
I've got to say though, Jimmy did make a great point, and I agreed with him on it. Garnacho took the penalty, but Delap, you know, he's a goal scorer, he's a forward. We were why isn't he taking it? You know, you were saying that, weren't you?
Yeah, Delap is having not a lot of luck in front of the goal at the moment.
You don't believe in
luck. Yes, but oh, you got me there. No, but yeah, he's not as fortunate at the moment in front of the goal.
That's good.
But yeah, I would have wanted to see him take the ball, put it on the penalty spot, and just score, and off he goes. And from just hitting the net, he would feel so much better. And strikers are a little bit different. They need to hit the net, and then out of a sudden off you go, and you can't stop scoring. Look at Haaland today. You know, hadn't scored for a while. He takes the penalty, off he goes. He scores 2 more goals. You know, so
he had to bring that up again, didn't he?
I'm sorry, Kelly. I'm sorry, but that's what I little bit wanted for Delap.
Liam Delap isn't really getting into the Chelsea side, and as you said, not necessarily scoring when he does get the opportunity. But Chelsea have so many creative forwards. They have such a strong depth in the squad in terms of the players available to them. And one of them, Joao Pedro, put in another fantastic performance today.
I think he's a wonderful talent because he's got that, like, he can play the 9 and he can drop in, and he's got pace. He can play off the shoulder. He takes risks. I like watching him. I like players who take risks, and he's a super athlete, as I said, and he leads the line well. But I think at the moment Jimmy's probably the best option.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I agree. But I would want Delap to give him a little hard time. Yeah. You know, and I think the team can benefit if they have got somebody coming off the bench, can score as well, and makes it competitive in that number 9 position. You know, that's why I wanted him to take that penalty and feel a little bit better than he is at the moment, because I know how it is for strikers. When you don't score, you know, even though you have won 7-0, you're not satisfied. You're just not satisfied. And that is a little bit a selfish kind of thing, but it's very important.
The thing with him as well, sorry, just to say, he's physical enough to play as a 9. I know maybe he likes to drop in and stuff, but he's got a really good presence. He's a strong boy. Yeah. I think he could be a really, really big player for him the rest of the season. And
he hasn't necessarily taken his opportunities when he's been given them, as we were saying. But is there also a case that it doesn't necessarily suit the way that Chelsea play at times, or that they have options in players who maybe have different assets?
Well, he's been brought up in a Man City schooling, so he knows that kind of football. So in that sense, I think he should be able to, you know. And Chelsea doesn't play that much different in a way than Man City. I think it's a confidence thing. I think if he can have a little bit more playtime and scoring, and don't get me wrong, he needs to deserve the playtime. He needs to go and get that. But if he gets himself on the score sheet, you will see him, you know, getting his chest in front and play and score more goals and feel.
Just been doing a lap to give a clap to these supporters. Your first Stamford Bridge goal.
Very happy, yeah. Yeah, in those games it's good when you score easy. And I was lucky to score this one, so I'm very happy.
And it was a clinical performance today. It's all well and good being the Premier League team against lower league opposition, but you've got to do the job, and you did it with such efficiency and professionalism today.
Yeah, what you say, it's always difficult against those teams. I think we played good from the back. The tempo was fast. We created many chances. Actually 90 minutes long, and we scored 7 goals, so it's a perfect game.
Well, look, you've made it now into the last 4 of the FA Cup, and the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley awaits.
Yeah, dream coming true.
How much are you looking forward to that, Wembley?
Yeah, very. Yeah, what I said, it's a dream coming true to play in the stadium Wembley. So let's see who we're going to face.
Now, how good was it to finally get one here at Stamford Bridge? You like the FA Cup. Your first goal was in the FA Cup, and now one today at home.
It's my tournament, isn't it? No, I was very happy to score my first one at Stamford Bridge. Yeah, very happy.
Well, one more game to go, then you're in the final, so we'll see if it is your tournament. Well done today.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, is it his tournament? Is it Chelsea's tournament? I mean, who knows? They're one of 4 names that will be in the hat, joining Manchester City, of course, who beat Liverpool earlier today. I suppose the best place to start is with Gerald's goal. And it was really just set in motion exactly what Chelsea wanted to do just 1 minute in.
Yeah, it's what they had to do. They probably wouldn't anticipate scoring so early, but they would have wanted to, and it was a great start. And as you said, the worst possible start for Port Vale. They tried to break the game into sections. It didn't quite pan out like that. And again, you're going to see this. There's anticipation just before the first contact was made. He's like a striker, like a forward-thinking player. The ball goes over his head, he turns, spins in the box, and then he's waiting and executes a fine volley.
Have you ever been in a position, Karen, where you've
going to ask me if I've been in a position to score a goal? Cheers, Rex. Cheers for that.
Yeah, have you ever scored a goal, Karen?
No. To be fair, though, just on Chelsea, I thought their set pieces have been brilliant. And of course, they have been throughout the season. The stats have really backed that up. But, today, another threat. And I think, as you mentioned, the early start, it calms a little in the stadium immediately. That's a real big plus point for Chelsea. Get it early, start early, calm, settle the nerves a little bit.
It's so hard for Port Vale in that situation. That's what I was going to ask you, was if you've ever scored a goal, as if you've ever been in a position where you're the underdog and then you get that early sucker punch, and how hard is that to come back from?
Yeah, I'm sure I would have been. I don't quite remember which game that was.
But he doesn't remember, because it didn't happen too often.
No, but again, yes, your game plan goes out the window. As I said, you want to kind of go away from home and just be hard to beat, resolute, and all of a sudden you find yourself 1-0 down so early on. Again, probably in the situation they would have anticipated Chelsea cutting through them and creating moments in free play, but set piece would be disappointing.
Yeah, but you know what? I have to say Port Vale did hold their own between the first and the second goals, but again, the early sucker punch, and then of course when Joao Pedro scored on 25 minutes, it kind of looked as though it was only going to go one way after that.
Pedro was really, really sharp today, Joao Pedro, but I love this little flick round the corner from Santos. I mentioned that earlier, but again, Neto again was very, very sharp and a real threat down that right hand side, anticipated it, and look, it's about the quality, first touch, composure, not to just slash at it and take your time and then finish it as well as he did. But it was a really, that first touch there, Jordan. Oh,
great first touch and composure to spin the face play, and as I said, it took his time. Defender slightly dives in, and then all of a sudden he finds the one angle that will score him a goal.
Joao Pedro has actually scored more Premier League goals since more than any other players since September as well. He is just absolutely on fire, and I feel that under Liam Rosenior as well, he's been able to sort of find different pockets and find different positions that really suit his style of play, and he's been able to get the best out of him.
I mean, when he was bought, he wasn't sure whether he's going to be in that 10 or in the 9 or play a mixture of a little bit of both, depending on where Cole Palmer would play, but he's obviously holding that down at number 9. Obviously, Liam Delap has had to be a little bit patient in that because he's at number 1, Joao Pedro, but his performance today was exceptional and got his goals and then got himself off, and he prepares now for the next 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely does. Now, Cole Palmer came in as the captain in this game as well, the first time ever in a Chelsea shirt. He almost got on the score sheet. We thought he did, but it turned out to be an own goal. And actually for this one, the play from Malo Gusto and the setup was actually fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, again, they find themselves behind Port Vale's mid-block, and all of a sudden, as soon as they get the ball behind the last line of defence, they break with such pace at number Port Vale. And again, a well-worked shot. Gusto, as soon as he plays that ball, watch how fast he reacts now. Before anyone can turn, he's running in behind, and then again, well weighted there from Joao Pedro across the goal, and Cole Palmer anticipates a save, and unfortunately for Gabriel, he taps it in.
I think that's what you see there. Gusto's played quite inverted today, and you get his just rewards. And look, I know it wasn't Cole Palmer's goal, as you said, but you always tell any young centre forward, follow it up, and if he didn't, it wouldn't have been an own goal. So credit to him, and I thought Cole was played a mature performance tonight, and again, after the international break, it was nice to see him out there, get that moment as captain, and then do the job well.
Yeah, absolutely, full responsibility on his shoulders. That's how it finished at half-time, 3-0. Didn't take long, though, for Chelsea to get back into it. 57 minutes, Tosin Adarabioyo.
Yeah, and I just said to him then after the game, he probably should score more goals with his aerial dominance. And again, it's a well-worked, patient build-up. Great ball in the box and well-read. Adjusted to the flight of the ball straight away, and Glenn touched on it in commentary about Drogba-esque, and it is. I've experienced that. Drogba pulling on the back here and Stan Cook climbing all over you. So it's a great cross and great executed header.
What did he say to you when you said that to him?
Yeah.
No, he said, yeah, I agree. Again, his presence, he's very dominant defensively, so it's just transferring that into attacking areas.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a side of his game. It'll be interesting to see if he does work on it more. Again, the next goal came, Andre Santos. This was 5-0. It's probably about as easy as it will get, this one.
Well, look, I mean, it might be, but I still absolutely rave about this player. I think his quality. And again, we mentioned about set piece and delivery. The deliveries have been superb for Chelsea, and not just in this game, throughout the whole season, actually. And you're right, not picking him up round the back post. He's unopposed. I think the goalkeeper again, and there's how many people swarmed around him, doesn't compete. And look, there he is. Like I said, I think he's a top player. I really like him in that centre midfield. He's composed, he's brave, he gets on the ball. And again, for all these midfielders, as you said, Jolie, not only defenders, get on the score sheet a little bit more, and that was a good one.
Yeah, it really was. Okay, 6-0, Estêvão, and a deserved one as well, because he was the player of the match. And this followed a lengthy check as well. Was there ever any doubt that this one would be given, Jolie?
Well, initially I thought no, but then seeing how close it was, I guess I understand why they're checking it. But again, well works, close in breaking the lines, and Estêvão then making a run with Garnacho. He probably should have finished, and probably disappointed he didn't finish it himself. But again, as Karen said, strikers follow it up. You never know what's going to happen, and all of a sudden he slows down his run. So it's slightly intelligent from him to slow his run down, because another yard he's offside for an empty goal.
And this is the thing, it's the intelligence that he uses, and it's exactly what he does. As every time he comes onto the pitch, it's just exactly what the Chelsea fans want to see. He lights this place up.
Yeah, you get on the edge of your seat with Estêvão, because he's positive, he takes people on, and you see the manager on the side telling him to do that. He doesn't want him to be boring. Take someone on, be positive. And he's a young player that I mentioned at the start of the show. I think he's going to be an absolute little superstar and keep growing and growing.
Yeah, exciting to see where it could go with him. What about the 7-0 then, the final nail in the coffin? This was in injury time. Garnacho with the penalty. What about the incident? What about the penalty?
Yeah, I thought this was slightly harsh, to be honest. I agree with Glenn. I think Garnacho, there is contact, 100% contact, but I think he initiates it, and I'm not sure this gets given if the game is of a higher magnitude. I think if this is the semi-finals versus Arsenal and it's 0-0 last minute, I'm not sure he gets given that penalty. I think that the referee might award it, but I think VAR checked that and we've seen that.